Hey everybody, welcome back. This is a continuation of the previous video where we were talking about demographics and how they relate to audience awareness. Um, so let's get right into talking about assignment 3, and then we're also going to talk about assignment 4. These are the last two assignments. They actually go together. Okay, that's why I put them together in a single video. So for assignment 3, you need to pick a product or service. It needs to be an existing product or service. That's the first thing. So, it can be a particular car, particular razor, like we saw in the last video, a particular shampoo. Um, this assignment isn't about your ability to be an entrepreneur and come up with an amazing new product. This is about audience awareness. So it needs to be an existing product. That's the first thing. Second thing, it needs to be a specific brand. Sometimes in the past I've had students, when they do this assignment, they will, my product is a razor, men's razor. That's not going to work. It has to be a specific brand. Okay, it has to be Gillette. It has to be Bic. Um, uh, not only so the first thing is you have to pick a particular product or service. The second thing is it has to be a particular brand. Okay. And the reason why you have to pick a particular brand is because then for assignment 3, what you're going to do is you are going to apply that list of demographics to come up with what you feel would be the best audience to market that particular brand to. And just a quick reminder of the demographics. There's age, there's gender, there's socioeconomic status or buying power, there's political beliefs, social beliefs, there's ethnicity, and I believe that was it for the major ones. Also whether they have children or not. I forgot about that one too. So, though, you need to actually run through all 6 of those demographics and decide whether or not your particular brand that you are going to be marketing would appeal to that particular demographic. Like, let's start with age. So let's say you're going to be marketing Gillette razors, Gillette's men's razors. So right there you've got gender. So that eliminates marketing towards women. You're going to be marketing towards men, right? But what about age? Are you marketing to young men who are just starting to shave? Are you marketing towards, well, I guess kind of, men in their 20s? Are you marketing towards men in midlife with children? Are you marketing towards older, more middle-aged men? Who are you marketing towards, and why? Um, and then socioeconomic status. You have to do some research. And what do Gillette razors cost compared to the competition? Are they relatively cheap razors, in which case you're probably marketing towards a lower socioeconomic status? If they're kind of mid-range, then maybe you're marketing towards kind of a middle class. If they're more expensive product, then maybe it's you're marketing towards kind of an upper middle class. It's going to probably fall somewhere in that range because very few products are actually marketed towards like the super rich, the uber rich. That's why you don't see too many ads for Ferrari. They don't need to. Um, So, and then are you marketing towards white men? Are you marketing towards African American men, Latino men, Asian men? Why? Why are you picking, do you feel like this brand is going to resonate more with a particular ethnic group? Okay, what about political and social beliefs? Are you marketing towards more liberal, who are really concerned about environmental issues or animal rights, things like that? If you're, like I said in the last video, if animal rights is a big deal, then you're not going to be marketing towards you're not going to be marketing Gillette because Gillette tests on animals. At least they did. I don't know if they still do. So, um, you're going to run through all of the demographics for your product, and you can absolutely bullet them and then kind of have a little paragraph after each bullet that describes whether this particular demographic does or does not apply to your ideal market for this product or service, specific brand or service, and why or why not. So what I'm really looking for here is I'm looking for you to really construct an analysis of audience. What goes in to coming up with the ideal audience for this particular product that you are trying to sell. Okay? So, that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for kind of the depth of your analysis as to why this product will appeal to this specific demographic. The last thing that I want to add is that a lot of what commercials do is they don't directly sell a product. I'm going to include at the bottom of this video some links, and one of them is going to be a link to a commercial for the ShamWow, which you'll see. One of them is going to be a link to TD Ameritrade, which is a financial services company. And the third one is going to be a link to Diet Coke, a Diet Coke commercial from probably about 15 years ago now. And we're going to have a discussion about which ad uses which appeal. For example, one of those ads uses primarily a logos appeal, an appeal to logic. One of the ads primarily uses an appeal to ethos, an appeal to the credibility of the actor who is advertising the product. And we'll talk more about that later. And the third one primarily uses pathos, or an appeal to an emotion. So the reason I bring this up is because in a world where so many products are very similar, like Pepsi, Coke, what companies do, rather than focusing on the particular aspects of their product, they actually look at or look to create, I should say, a feeling in the audience. They're looking to invoke an emotion. So we're going to take a look at an example of this right now. Okay, I'm going to pause this video just for a second, and then we'll get going. Okay, so what I'm going to show you next is a Pepsi commercial. And it might be a Pepsi commercial that you've never seen because it was put on Pepsi's Twitter feed about 2 years ago, and there was such a storm of controversy around it that Pepsi immediately took it down and never showed it again. So the only reason I'm able to show it is because people have recorded it and saved it and uploaded it to YouTube. It's of course the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial. So I'm gonna show that because it allows me to talk about all three of those things: logos, ethos, and pathos. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear the sound of the video. That's fine. You don't need to hear the sound of the video, okay? All right. If you can't hear the sound, all there's just music. There's no dialogue in this commercial. By the way, I'll include a link to this, but you can certainly find. Just search Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial. This is the only one she ever did, and it didn't work too well for her. Okay, so why was this ad so controversial? Well, the reason why this ad was so controversial is because of the collective the failure of ethos in this commercial. So, in terms of what Pepsi was going for here, what they were going for is they were going for pathos. They were trying to connect their product to a lot of the social movements that were going on around that time, in particular Black Lives Matter. And the Occupy Wall Street, which is a few years earlier than that, but things like that. Um, and so they were trying to connect their product to the concept of liberation, basically. And why is that? Why do they do that? Well, because advertisers are trying to sell a feeling. And since so many of us feel restricted in our lives, advertisers often try to sell us on the idea of freedom, liberation, and that's kind of what Pepsi was going for. Now, the reason it didn't work is for two reasons, primarily two reasons. One, Pepsi's essentially suggesting, they're not consciously suggesting this, but they're sort of subconsciously suggesting that the great problems of the world, like racism and police brutality, police violence, can be fixed with a soda. And then the other problem is that it had Kendall Jenner. And Kendall Jenner may be a wonderful human being. I really don't know. I don't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But she has no ethos. She has no credibility when it comes to these kinds of social issues, because it's not like, she's out there fighting for social change. She's a makeup artist. So she has no credibility. And so those two reasons are primarily why this ad was so controversial. So you're going to keep that in mind for assignment 4. But the last part of assignment 3 is, what kind of emotion do you want to create in your audience? Is it freedom? Is it liberation? Is it it's kind of breaking free? Is it you see a lot of car commercials like that where the car is driving off through exotic locales? It's not happiness, okay? Happiness is too simple. What emotion, what longing is your product trying to meat for the audience.